Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships for our new player guide series, our longest running series here on the channel. And honestly, this topic should have been a topic I covered like really early on in this new player guide series, but it is what it is. This question, going over this video, was generated by a question I received regarding some economics in the game. And I looked and I was like, I don't have a video covering things such as base XP and base credits. And just talking about the economy in the game in terms of base earnings. So this is a probably boring video, perhaps, but if you understand how base earnings work in the game, you will find how you can earn more credits, you can earn more XP, free XP, this, that, and the other. So this actually dictates my decisions and I make in the game sometimes, because I know if I do this, I'll be rewarded more for it versus if I just simply ignored it like a key objective or something like that. So the two most important currencies in World of Warships is credits and experience, which in experience you have several forms, are earned primarily by fighting battles. The article discusses how the base amounts of XP and credits are determined from a ship's performance in battle. While the formulas for the calculation of base earnings are not published, the factors affecting the base amounts are known. So that's kind of sometimes we don't have full revelation here to fully grasp it, but they give us some information to like kind of go off of an understanding. So from these base amounts, the final rewards for the battle are calculated. So basically, as we go through this, your base earnings, whether we're talking about base credits or base experience, it's how much you receive in layman's terms is the better you do in battle, the more you earn. The worse you do in battle, the less you earn. So it just rewards you for playing really good, versus if you play really bad, then you're gonna get as much credits or experience for that matter. So we're talking about base credits. Credits is the primary monetary currency in World of Warships. Credits are needed to buy unlocked tech tree ships, premium consumables, modules, upgrades, and commander retraining, as well as to pay for servicing and resupply after battle. Now they said commander retraining. I thought you can only use doubloons or commander XP for commander retraining. I wonder if that... one thing I need to make a note of is sometimes these WoW's Wiki articles are out of date, so that might have been something you could do in the past, but for commander retraining, I didn't think you could use credits. Maybe I'm overthinking of it and I'm just mixing it up in my head. Players can earn credits through battles, campaigns, containers, premium shop bundles, or special missions. Base credit income depends on performance in battle. The base amount earned may be modified by such as premium time, ship bonuses, etc. There are three values that are important to understand. One is the base credit earnings. Then you have gross credit earnings, base earnings with bonuses applied. This is the amount applied against mission requirements. And net credit earnings, gross earnings with expenses deducted. This is the amount that goes into your treasury. And here we discuss only battle credit earnings. I'm guessing this was supposed to be a hyperlink, but doesn't take you anywhere. So, I mean, they pretty much summed it up. Like, you'll earn more credits. Like, for example, if I'm farming credits in World of Warships, I'm going to have make sure I have my premium time. But I'm going to take out a tier 9 premium ship, and then I'm going to, on top of having premium time and that it has a permanent bonus package already on the ship, and then I'm going to take like a red, a blue credit booster and make a lot of money, like $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million plus, depending on how the battle goes. So base experience, on the other hand, experience is the primary research currency in World of Warships. Players earn experience in the same way as they do credits through battles and special missions. Experience is measured by experience points, XP. In its various forms, XP is used to research, unlock new ships and modules, and develop more capable commanders, allowing the player to progress. There are several types of experience, so all types being that you have your ship XP. You know, like let's say after you have finished grinding out Iowa, and then you've researched the Montana, you keep playing Iowa, whatever XP you earn is tied to that ship. So that ship XP is tied only to Iowa. And could I only ever convert it to like free XP, as an example, if I paid doubloons, which I do have a video on that, but I don't recommend doing that. So that's why you'll start seeing, like, I think on Salem, like I have maybe almost 2 million ship XP on it alone. Then you have free XP, so that's like the gold XP star stuff, which actually this shows a little bit better than just ship XP. So free XP, that will be like that little gold number to the right of how much XP you earn per battle. It's usually always less than whatever the XP you actually earned in battle, but it depends again of what boosters you're using. Commander XP, which is derived, and these things are derived from the base XP, the raw amount earned in battle. So the more base XP you get in a game means you'll get more ship XP, you'll get more free XP, you'll get more commander XP. So maybe towards the end I can give an example and pull up a couple of pictures or like post-battle results and explain that a little bit more. But it's all derived from the base XP, which is like your team score. And you're looking at how you did on your team versus how the enemy team did on their team, and then you can see, oh, I scored 4th. I got let's say 1600 base XP, and then you had a couple other players who got 17, 18, 19, 2000 base XP perhaps. And then because they got more base XP, they performed better in the battle than you did. And so depending again on what type of bonuses they have, if no one has any bonuses and you're all just running the same thing or whatever, then those players who got more base XP will get more ship XP, free XP, commander XP, credits, so on and so forth. So base XP, sometimes as BXP, is the experience earned directly from a ship's performance in battle. See earning credits and experience below for factors that determine base experience. Base XP is modified by various bonuses to yield modified ship XP, used to research module ships and elite XP. It is also the basis of earned free experience and commander experience. See the economics article for how these derived values are calculated. Base XP is rarely used directly. A team's relative performance in a battle is ordered by base XP. Missions may require the accumulation of base XP as the mission objective. So like you'll see this in Dockyard, right? It'll say earn 40,000 base XP on cruisers. Right, not just XP in general, which, you know, if you could play 2 battles, 3 battles with a blue XP booster and boom, you've got it, right? But base XP. So maybe it's best if I just try to pull up some pictures of that now, perhaps. I'm gonna probably have some things blocked on the screen. I'm trying to find a randoms battle. Maybe I can do it here. Yeah, so here's an example. A tier 10, the Marseille, where it's having a pretty good game. So here you can see, you know, the credits. We did 500,000 credits. We did win. If you win, depending on the victory or defeat, like if it's a defeat, I would have earned less credits and so forth, and less base XP, which I'll show you. But as a victory, you can see we did over 500,000 credits. So we did 3,800 XP, 1,600 free XP. We got 3 kills. We got an assisted in capture. We got a defended. You know, these things will tie into your credit earnings, as well as aircraft shot down. And then here you can see an overview of our team versus enemy team. So we did die in this game, but we got 2,208 XP. And placing first on our team. So as an example, with that, that would reflect over here. So if I was actually running some, like, if I go to, no, I was trying to go into the detailed report and credits XP, but I don't have those saved. But if I had like some bonuses like actually ship XP or free XP bonuses, like a green booster, blue booster, these numbers would be a lot higher. As well as for the credits, you know, if I had probably had like maybe I had a green booster this game, I don't know, but if I had like a blue or red booster, it probably would have pushed me up towards 1 million credits easily, because of how I performed in the game. And I'm going to kind of, in the article shows how those things take into effect. So if I had scored, you know, lower, let's say I got 1,200 base XP, like maybe like the Bilal, then I won't earn as much credits, XP, and free XP as a result. But we did pretty good this game, so that worked out well for us in that regard. So exit out of that. So coming back into here, base earnings revealed. The amounts of base earning appear in the post-battle report, which is literally what I just showed you. Base XP earned appears on the team score tab and used to rank team performance. It also appears on the credits and XP tab in the left-hand non-premium column as XP received / earned above where it's used in calculating derived XP values is broken out. Base credits earned appears on the credits and XP tab on the top line of the left-hand column. The right-hand column is modified by the premium account, right? So after a battle, each player, or earning credits and experience, after a battle, each player receives base credits and experience according to his contribution to the battle. So factors affecting the base amounts are listed below. Note that while these factors are used to calculate both XP and credits, how they are used is not identical between the two. So in-game actions, the greatest base XP earnings come from damage done to enemy ships. The damage, rewards for damage is determined by the percentage of the target's ship's hit points removed, not the amount of raw damage done. Removing 90% of a destroyer's HP will generate the same base XP earnings as removing 90% of a battleship's HP at the same tier. The rewards from damage scale depending on the tier disparity between the ships. More is earned for damaging a higher tier than a lower tiered ship. So sometimes, like, you'll see people who maybe they're tier 7 and they get roped into a tier 9 battle, and then you see tier 7 players like, ah, crap, I got bottom tier again. And then you might see another person say, well, hey, that just means you're going to earn more XP credits depending on how you do in the game, right? So if you do damage to a higher tiered ship, that will give you more credits earning. This is the big thing that trips up a lot of players. The second point I want to bounce back to. You will see players in the game who will ignore shooting a destroyer. Like, let's say you're in a battleship, there's an enemy destroyer, let's say 10 kilometers away from you, but you see a cruiser who's bow in 12 kilometers, or just 2 kilometers behind that same destroyer. They'll shoot the cruiser over the destroyer because in your head, you're like, I can do more damage to that cruiser, where that destroyer is a smaller target. Maybe only 2 of my 9 shells hit, right? So let's say if yours 2 9 shells hits, let's say you were firing armor piercing, let's say you only done 2,000 damage to that destroyer. But the cruiser behind, let's say you did 6,000, or yeah, let's say 5,000 damage. If you would have just shot the destroyer instead, you will generate more base XP earnings for the 2,000 hit points of damage you did to the destroyer over the 6,000 or 5,000 hit points of damage you did to the cruiser, because it's based off the percentage of health, not how much damage you do, but the percentage overall of that ship that you did damage to. So that's why it's important if you do get opportunities, even though if you're like, well, maybe only 1 of my 9 shells hits, maybe you get lucky 4 or 5 hit, right? You will get more earnings for shooting the destroyer than you would for a cruiser, even if you do a little bit more damage to the cruiser, because it comes down to the percentage of that total health of that ship, right? Where a destroyer doesn't have as much hit points as a cruiser or an enemy battleship. So this trips players up. So, you know, you can earn more base XP, you can earn more credits if you shoot a destroyer over a cruiser, and you're actually going to do like significantly more damage, perhaps percentage-wise, to the destroyer versus the cruiser. Just as an example, you know, if you have broadside Minotaur behind, you know, that's about to smoke up 12 kilometers away, where you have a destroyer 10 kilometers away, and you're on like Conqueror, yeah, I would shoot the broadside Minotaur over shooting the destroyer that's 2 kilometers closer to me at 10 kilometer range versus a 12 kilometer, right? You know, you use your brain. Damage to ships and aircraft kills and captures make up about 85% of the total earnings. So that's important to understand. So damage to ships, aircraft, kills, and captures and make up about 85% of the total earnings. So here, like for example, we're looking at credits. You can see frags, enemy kills, award credits with equivalent of 25% of the target's hit points and damage. You have fighters or planes shot down. Total damage to aircraft is tracked and contributes to earnings. The tier of the aircraft carrier that launched the planes is considered for tier disparity. So if you're like a tier 8 shooting down tier 10 planes, you'll get more rewards, higher earnings. There's captured rewards equivalent to the a third of a completely destroyed ship. So that's actually pretty good. So I mean, I've had some battles. I've actually gotten 3 solo caps and a 4th like assisted capture, and because of that, my base XP earnings is quite high because it's like you destroyed a ship, right? If you get 3 solo caps, it's like you destroyed a ship in its entirety. If several ships contribute to capture, the rewards are divided by each player's contribution to the capture. So let's say, you know, I step on the cap 5 seconds away from it being captured. You know, the player who was already on it, who did like 90 or I don't know how many seconds it takes to cap a base. If it's 60 or whatever, you know, he did 55 seconds of the capture progress and I only helped contribute the last 5 seconds, then yeah, he's going to be compensated much more than I will. So it's not just a flat rate depending on whoever gets into the cap. It's nice though. I mean, it's still going to help even if you're late to the cap. But the player who's on the cap longer, who's got the most captured progress, is going to get more earnings than you. Then you have the reward for blocking captures. It's the same as a capture assist, dividing by the duration of the enemy's capture. So how much capture progress they have progressed in, and then you reset them is kind of how they divide getting your result. But again, they don't give it to you outright for the calculation method. So I've had like some games I've got like 30, 40 defended capture ribbons. I had one not too long ago, actually. It's kind of funny. But it doesn't really add up in terms of the base XP or your base here talking about credits earning as well as it does for XP. Now, the base XP points, again, it's frags, enemy kills, award base experience equivalent of 10% of the ship's target's hit points and damage. Then for planes shot down by fighter or planes shot down by your ship, total damage to aircraft is tracked and contributes to earnings. The tier of the aircraft carrier that launched the planes is considered for tier disparity. So let's say you're a tier 6 ship shooting down tier 8 planes. Captured rewards base experience equivalent to 2/3 of a completely destroyed ship. So then now is kind of even a bit higher in terms of how they value this compared to credits. So you'll get more XP earnings for a solo cap versus like credits. And however they've done their mathematical formula. If several ships contribute to a capture, the rewards are divided by each ship's contribution to the capture. Same thing as I said here. Then again, the reward for blocking capture is the same as capture assist, dividing by the duration of the enemy's capture. Again, same mentality of what I talked through here on this point. Now here, things begin to get a little bit more different because then we start talking about tanking and spotting. Again, we don't know what the metric is that Wargaming uses to reward, I think specifically spotting. I don't know how clear they are regarding tanking. But you can get a lot more rewards for the more damage you've tanked and the more spotting you've done. And the following typically contributes less than 15% of the total earned credits in base XP. So here you can see the 85%, and then here's the other 100% to 15% here. So these are the main things, main actions you do in the game that will reward you in terms of your battle performance of credits and base XP. So it's not like the question I got the other day was like, if I get a Kraken Unleashed, if I get a high caliber achievement, does that take into account of the XP credits I earn? It was something like that. And no, that's not the case. It's just based off of the fact that you got 5 kills, the game's kind of recognizing, hey, you got 5 kills, here's a Kraken Unleashed. Now back in the day, when you got a Kraken Unleashed, I don't remember, you got a combat signal as a reward. It used to be whenever you did, you got certain achievements in the game, you would be rewarded for it by combat signals. But then Wargaming has kind of a crap show around that, and then a lot of the players were pressuring people, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Why did you do this? Because like if you detonated, you would have gotten the Juliet Charlie combat signals, which was, you know, now that's taken out of the game. But those had a 100% completely limits the risk of your ship's magazine detonating, right? And then you had some nomnards say, well, it's because of people were farming detonations. I mean, who purposely wants their ship to explode just so they can farm 10, was it 10? I don't think it was 20, but 10 detonation flags. Maybe it was 20, but I think it was 10. So that went over really well, and that wasn't great on Wargame's behalf. So that was a stupid reasoning, and I think they just felt pressured to say something, and it made it worse. So 15% versus 85%. So potential damage. Tanking and potential damage is rewarded. Potential damage is the sum of the maximum damage of shells, bombs, torpedoes, etc. that hit the ship or pass within 700 meters of your ship. So 0.7 kilometers. Earnings are modified by ship type. For example, battleships earn the most credits in base XP, and aircraft carriers the least for receiving the same amount of potential damage, right? So this is like, let me just open this up in a new tab, and then I can kind of zoom in. So here's like, for example, potential damage. So battleship players are rewarded the most for potential damage. So this is a way of Wargaming saying, hey, GKs sitting 20 kilometers in the back sniping, we are trying to incentivize you to tank for your team. Draw a little focus fire from the team. Get a little more closer in a brawling battleship, right? I mean, that's not what they're... That's the game design, but a lot of people... Or not a lot of people, but there are players who don't understand this, right? So when you tank damage for your team, Wargaming is saying, hey, we're going to reward you for that. Now, there's a difference between tanking for your team and Wing in your battleship and dying in the first 3 minutes of the game, okay? That's not tanking for your team. That's called suicide, okay? But potential damage, battleships will be rewarded the most. And then you have cruisers, so maybe you're like Moskva, Stalingrad, Petro, more your battle cruisers, right? And then you come down into destroyers, and then aircraft carriers, because, I mean, ideally, aircraft carriers, you're in the back in the spawn and you don't want to get shot at, right? Then you have spotting an enemy ship. So if you're in a cruiser and you spot an enemy ship, you will receive more rewards, credits, XP earnings than actually a destroyer would, or an aircraft carrier or a battleship. So battleships aren't really rewarded as much for spotting an enemy ship compared to cruisers and destroyers, right? Those are the main go-tos. I think they probably put cruisers on top because they don't want cruiser players. If they're trying to incentivize cruiser players, which Wargaming doesn't do a very good job in like showcasing this and helping players understand this, but it's kind of a way for you as a cruiser player to actually kind of play closer to the objectives, like key map areas or capture points, and not playing so far removed from the battle where you're not really contributing, right? So that's kind of why they said, hey, we're going to value cruisers a little bit more than destroyers here. At least that would be my understanding of probably what the devs were aiming at. And then you have damage upon spotting. So that means destroyer players, right, are going to get the most, followed by cruisers and aircraft carriers, cruisers, aircraft carriers, and then battleships. So they were trying to reward destroyer players here for actively spotting the enemy team. So I've had games where I've done up to, I think I've reached 200,000 damage upon spotting before. I'll get into more of the statistics where they have it in the article. But they want destroyer, again, they're trying to reward you as a destroyer player for not playing passively behind your cruisers or your battleships, as an example, as you see some destroyer players do here in World of Warships, or the Shimakaze player who runs up the A1 line or the J10 line, and then goes, I'm trying to remember how the map works. The A line or the J10 line, let's say he spawned here, he goes up and then he comes over here to try to kill the aircraft carrier while not really providing much spotting for his team, fighting in the central of the map, right? So they're trying to say, hey, we reward you, destroyer players, for spotting. But again, I don't think Wargaming does a very good job in like explaining this and trying to help players understand, because they don't explain the formula calculation. I think if Wargaming did a better job, then you would see players maybe who are trying to farm credits, XP, grind a ship line, like maybe they would be more incentivized if they knew exactly how these things took into place. But I can't criticize too much because I need to come down here and keep reading a little more. So you have detection. Maybe let me just like zoom in. You guys probably should have done it sooner. I apologize. Detection. Detecting a ship for the first time, or detecting one that has been undetected for at least 90 seconds. So if you're wondering like, hey, that ship's already been detected, why am I getting another, he was detected 3-4 minutes ago, and I'm getting rewarded again for detecting him. Another spotted ribbon. Why is that? Well, it's because he went dark for 90 seconds, okay? At least 90 seconds. So you can see the breakdown here between CV, Battleship, DD, and Cruiser. I'm not going to go through all of that, but you can see that a Cruiser theoretically here is rewarded the most, as that is reflected here, right? Cruiser, DD, Aircraft Carrier, and Battleship. All that seems to be mixed around. The detection of aircraft and torpedoes generates a small reward as well. So if you detect planes coming in, you detect torpedoes, you get a little bit because you're informing maybe the battleship player behind you. If you're sure, like, hey, there's torpedoes coming, like you picked it up for him. Spotting and damage on spotting. Spotting, detecting a ship that is then damaged by one's allies that otherwise could not see the target. So detection is just this, oh, I got a spotted ribbon. And then on your top right corner, I believe it is, that's where you see like a spotting, a damage upon your spotting number keep going up. You'll see, of course, much more if you're like a destroyer or an aircraft carrier. So spotting, detecting a ship that is damaged by one's allies, otherwise cannot see the target. The rewards is both XP and credits. The spotter for the same % of damage done as the shooter. So that's good. The spotter must be detecting the target at the moment the ordnance hits, so the moment those torpedoes, skip bombers, I shouldn't say use a CV as an example, but if you're a destroyer and you're detecting for the high explosive or the armor piercing being fired by one of your allies towards enemy ship. The rewards will be credited to all such spotters in full. Damage over time, like fire and flood, is not rewarded to spotters. So like, as an example, let's say my friendly Conqueror, and I'm in a Yugamo. Conqueror shoots over me, spots, and I'm spotting an enemy Wisconsin. Whatever damage he does in terms of the fire would only be rewarded to him, not to me. Okay, it's only just upon when the ordnance hits. So when that high explosive from the Conqueror made contact with Wisconsin, that's the damage I'm rewarded, not the damage from the fire that ticks following that. Other considerations, the more base capture and base defense points you earn, the better. XP is not awarded for damage to shore installations, so keep that in mind. I think that also goes for things like operations. So unless they've changed it since this wiki article, you're not rewarded for actually doing damage to the shore installations, even though you kind of get these little ribbons of destroying them, right? Rewards from actions scale. Destroying one cruiser earns full reward. Destroying 2 cruisers earns about 0.85 times gross reward for destroying 3 cruisers. 0.67 times gross reward. These are estimates. Actual scaling is not known, right? So Wargaming doesn't tell us this. Diversity of activity is rewarded. For instance, a battleship that camps at the back doing one task, shooting at long range, will earn less than a battleship that accrues the same damage while shooting and also defending a capture point, right? So, they could also, you could cite the battleship player who's not at long range, but he's up closer and he's tanking. He's taking potential damage for his team. He's taking some of the focus fire off of his friendly battleships and cruisers that are playing closer, as an example, right? Even though they both do the same damage. So that's why you should try to aim at doing multiple things if you can, as an example. Achievements have no effect on earnings. So I said that earlier, but it's good to see it confirmed here, unless Wargaming has changed this since this wiki article is written. Finally, the base XP rewards increase 50% for the winning team. Okay, so that's the other big thing. So, like that Marseille battle or whatever I showed you, we had a victory. I did over 2,000, was it 200 base XP? If I would have lost, I would have had less base XP, right? But because I won, my best XP rewards are increased for winning the battle, being on the winning team. So more incentive to win in the game, right? As it pretty much is in any game. The ship itself, we're getting to close here. Each ship also has multipliers to XP and credits. The multipliers of premium ships are known to be higher than those of tech tree ships. However, the values themselves are unknown. Good to know. The multiplier scales with the tier of the ship. For XP, a twofold difference is possible between tiers 1 and 10. Example, a tier 1 ship may have a multiplier of 1.0, while a tier 10 ship has a multiplier of 2.0. For credits, the difference may be even greater. Friendly fire. Friendly fire dealing direct damage to allies, accidental or otherwise, decreases the amount of credits and experience earned, imposing a fine on the total amount. This will never cause the reward to go below 0, though. Yeah, so that's always interesting when that happens. Actually, I have a video I think I need to do. There was an enemy friendly Minotaur who did enough damage to me to conquer, and another player that he did so much that he broke a threshold where even though we're not taking any damage, the damage he's applying to us applies back to him, and then he died. So we ended the battle with a -1. He was a very toxic player in the game naturally. So how base XP or base earnings are used to these base amounts modifiers are applied to calculate the final reward amounts. See the economics article for the details. The post-battle report states the final modified results on the personal score tab, states the base XP on the team score tab, summarizes the elements that are affected on the base rewards on the details tab, and breaks down the calculation of derived results on the credits and XP tab. So let me see if I can, I'll pull this back up again. Let's see if I have a full picture to show you. I'm seeing some operations. I was just trying to see if I had a randoms battle to give you kind of a full-blown picture. I don't know what this one is. Alright, so this is a Libertad battle I had on Estuary. I think I showed this one on YouTube, I think. So we did pretty good this battle, as you can see. Between the credits we earned, XP and free XP, but Confederate, Double Strike, Close Quarters, Dreadnought, Kraken Unleashed, and First Blood with 5 kills. We have an assisted in capture. We have 13 planes shot down, right? So if I go over here into the team score, so we did 2,700 base XP as a whole. So then that kicks back into reflecting, here I can see how many planes I shot down. I can see how many ships I destroyed. So I'm beginning to see that reflected here, right? Because of how we did so well in the battle. And then if I go to the detailed report, here you can see, we had some spotting damage, 56,397. You can see the potential damage. We took 1.5 million. We spotted 3 squadrons of aircraft. We spotted 15 torpedoes. We had 47 of 184 capture points. And in terms of defense points, we had 1 of 17. So did we get a defended ribbon? No, I don't see a defended ribbon here, so that's interesting. So that's kind of the team play, and that being shown here. Otherwise, you're just seeing the damage that we caused to aircraft. Airstrike from on the submarine, dropping some depth charges, main battery, secondary battery, and then the damage we took. So we took 111,000 damage, and we got the Dreadnought achievement, but it was 1.5 million potential damage, right? So that's where that 15% begins to kick in here when we're talking about spotting and potential damage and spotting planes and torpedoes, and yeah. Then we could come here into the credits and XP. So, of course, without premium, this is what it would have been. But with premium count, you can see what it was. Now, I can't open and click on these modifiers because this is just a screenshot. But you can see what we spent for the battle, what modifiers we did have. I'm guessing I probably just had a green or maybe just a gray credit booster. So you can see it did make an impact here on the account overall. And then ship XP, what I received for the battle, a modifier, boom. Commander XP, received for the battle, a modifier I had on, boom. So looking really good as a whole. So you can see just the value of having premium count over not having premium count as an example. So I hope that kind of gives you a bit of a rundown example of what that would look like as an example. So I'm getting tongue-tied. I'll put this article in the comments description below. So if you want to read it more for yourself and wrap your head around it, you can. And I guess you should also note special rules apply for ships participating in clan battles. They have a different metrics. I think whatever team wins, they just get 2,500 base XP, something like that. The whole team, no matter how good you do over your other clan mates in clan battles. So probably good to say that here. So I don't know if actually, yeah, 2,500 base XP, and then you just get straight up 300,000 credits, and then for defeat, you just get 250 base XP per player and 150,000 credits. So yeah, so you can see that there as well if you want to understand that a bit more. So, with that being said, it's going to bring this video to a close. I hope you liked it. I mean, kind of a little bit boring, but it does at least explain if you're kind of wondering how does base XP earnings work here in World of Warships. So just keep in mind, you know, you want to be focusing on these things here in terms of credit earning and base XP earning with these specific actions here. So, that being said, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I would appreciate it. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. Until next time, take care.